Hello again everybody, welcome back to Natural 20 AU. Today we are going to be taking a stab at the humble farmer, the average Joe that keeps every kingdom in D&D running. We're going to start off with a bit of flesh tone here. This is not going to be like a super detailed tutorial, but I'll just kind of walk you through my steps as we go, my thoughts as we got there, I suppose. I jumped in with some, I think it's Cadian flesh tone, which is a Citadel paint. I did quickly realize that I'd watered it down a little bit too much, so we give them another quick blast. This one's not too complicated of a paint job, pretty much just the hands, the face, and I think later on I realized the back of the neck is also exposed. I think I get that a little bit later. I think I miss it here in the early goings. Old mate Farmer Joe, just getting a bit of appreciation, I suppose. Again, it's an often overlooked member of society. I recall back to my first campaign, we saved a farmer and his family from some terrible zombies. But aside from that, they don't often get a look in. We jump across now to the boots. This is going to be a bit cut and pasty. I didn't want to spend 40 minutes on this one. I think my first painting video, ran probably a little bit too long, so we kind of cut some of this away here. Move to the second boot real quick. He's rocking a mean leather cap as well, which I'm pretty sure we hit with the same paint. You'll notice as well here, and I'm really sorry about the terrible camera angles. I am trying to do better, but my camera setup's a bit average for this. You'll notice though, I'm being quite liberal with the application of paint in a lot of these kind of general zones. Like the hands, I was trying to be a little bit more specific, in the face, trying not to get spare flesh tone everywhere willy-nilly. But the overall outfit of this farmer, in my mind when I'm painting him, is that he's wearing crappy, rundown clothes, and he's not too fussed just how much cow shit gets on everything he owns, because that's his day-to-day life. He scrapes by in some kingdom somewhere, earning whatever he can selling his fruits and vegetables or whatever. Or maybe he's an indentured servant earning off or working off a debt to some lord, so you know, he's out there in the fields, he's not wearing his Sunday best. So in my mind, when I'm painting a miniature like this, or even like a general fighter or a guard, perhaps someone who's going to be maybe issued one set of uniforms or clothing, and that might be it, and they might wear that all year round, and in this particular case, cop a beating in the field. In the case of a fighter, his armor might get dinged up out in battle, and he may not have the money or resources to get a new shield at any point. So in my mind here, Farmer Joe, he's just wearing whatever he's got on hand, and my thought process, especially with this kind of a mini, is just to cover the damn thing in paint as best I can, hitting all the colors that I want it to hit, and then painting over the bits where I make a mess and not feeling too bad about it, because in my head I know already, like before I even pick up that first paintbrush, I'm well aware that he's out in a field, he's going to get a lot of brown on a lot of his bits of clothing. So the floor is going to be muddy, he's going to be muddy, his equipment's going to be muddy, and if I have to paint over a little bit of red with some brown, or one shade of brown with another shade of brown, I'm not going to let that slow me down or stress me out. And as someone who paints minis mostly for fun, I'm here to tell you, getting hung up on those little things can really take the fun out of it. I go through here just for the second coat of the flesh tone once that first coat had dried. It was still looking a little bit patchy from the watery application the first time around, so we just went over and fixed that up. But yeah, again, in my head, in hopefully what'll be a good finished product, he's going to be quite grubby and dirty. So I'm not super worried about really, hey, there's the neck, about really hitting every single, nail bang on the head. I'm thinking just quietly, if you want to hit me up in the comments, let me know what you think, but I'm thinking about divvying up these painting tutorials into playlists, doing like a civilian playlist and then like a fighter playlist and a caster playlist and then monsters and monstrosities and dragons and whatnot. I have so many D&D minis, just because I'm a crazy doofus of a DM who likes to buy any minis he sees with whatever spare change is rattling around in the car on the day. So if you guys are keen for some, bigger tutorials for crazier things and you want them all divvied up into playlists, I can certainly swing that. Now, at about this point, I'm sort of plodding along comfortably with the brown, kind of eyeballing his jacket, and I make a quick mental note that there's actually a tear under his arm, and I kind of think to myself on the fly, oh hey, he's wearing some kind of vest. This isn't like a full-on trench coat. He's got a shirt on underneath, and he's rocking like an overcoat, to try to keep himself a bit cleaner, or maybe to keep the weather off, or to keep a bit warmer because it's cold. And I make that mental note that his sleeves and his shirt under the coat need to be a different color because it's not the coat. And then about 3 minutes later, I completely paint that first sleeve brown. I just completely forgot, and it just slipped my mind. I was in the zone, throwing down brown on the jacket, and I was like, balls, I've made a mess here, what do I do? And then I procrastinate for about 10 minutes and try to decide what the best course of action is. And I think I settled on going back to the original theory that this farmer is making do with whatever he's got, whatever he can get his hands on. And, at some point during his farming life, he lost that sleeve. It got damaged, it tore off, but he keeps on plugging. And so rather than trying to strip the brown off of that sleeve and start fresh on that sleeve, I decided just to go ahead and leave that sleeve that dark brown as though it were a part of the jacket, because there's on that front side there's not a whole lot of evidence of it being open, unlike on the other side where you can clearly see there's separation in the two materials. So I decided to just go ahead and leave that brown, like that sleeve is still intact, and in a little bit we'll throw sleeve color and shirt color on the exposed arm and exposed parts of the shirt to make up for it. And personally, I think it turned out okay. Farmer Joe doesn't have the best attire, but he's making do. Just hitting some of these edges kind of lightly is, I'm far from a pro. Hitting those edges, trying to make it look like a dirtier, sort of worn down tool. So there you can see under his arm, just under my brush, exposed shirt. So we hit that with the blue wash. It's a very dark blue wash, but we hit it with the blue wash just to separate those two colors, and then we hit the rest of the underlying shirt there. And at this point, in my mind, we're pretty much good. I just need to touch up his face a little bit. I think on this mini, to be honest, I got a little bit slack. I didn't do eyes, and god damn it, I hate doing eyes. Pushing forward, I'll do a few more of these videos, obviously, and I'll try to get some eyes on some of these dudes. It can be tricky. it can be tricky. It can be an absolute nightmare to paint eyes, don't get me wrong, but getting a camera angle on that is going to be very tough. So it might be a case of you don't see me paint the eyes, but they'll be in the finished photos. We'll see how we go for camera angles. It's going to be a pain. Basing, I wanted this to really look like he was out in the field, so that is just a basic PVA glue. Probably not great doing it straight on the base. I probably should have base coated the base or sprayed the base, but again, kind of a novice, kind of a doofus, kind of working this out as we go. Again, totally free, or totally keen for any comments or suggestions, so hit me up if you've got tips or ideas. Now I do actually really like these textured paints that Citadel and Games Workshop are selling. So I got this mud, this like dark brown mud textured paint a while ago, and I really haven't had a chance to use it. And I thought, you know what, Farmer Joe's up to his bollocks in the farmyard. He's dirty, he's gross. Let's bust out this texture paint. So once I get the loose little bits off of him, in a second here, we're about to throw the texture paint down. And it's a really cool paint. It goes on like gluggy and gross and dries lumpy, I guess is the best way to put it. It's great to use, good fun, and yeah, I recommend you get in there and give it a red hot crack. Texture paint is absolutely, it's worth its money. It's good value. Now in a minute here, once I'm finished with the texture paint, I let that dry, and then for some reason I just brain fart, and off camera I dry brush a little bit of wear and tear across basically the whole mini, just to show that he's been out in the mud, out in the fields, and he's had a rough time of it. But that is it. That is Farmer Joe done and dusted. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to subscribe to the channel, and you can always catch us on our store over on Etsy, Natural20AU. Feel free to support us there and support the channel. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.